Welcome back, everybody, to the Huddle Up podcast, a Sunday afternoon edition. We took a little time off, got a little break during the summer. You know, the dog days of summer are getting at us. I know, DG, you were on vacation a little bit. We just took some time off, a little recharge, but coming at you on a Sunday. Thank you to our sponsors once again, the Jeremy Hodge Auto Group, Cooper Paint, Stripe, and Sealing, and the Magnolia Landscape and Design. We are coming at you with a very special guest. DG, how's it going, man? How was the vacation, first of all? And then, introduce our guest for us.
Yeah, man. Vacation, great, always great. It was a little different time of summer for me this year than usual, but it was still nonetheless, man. It's phenomenal. It's always good to get away, reset, unplug a little bit, spend some extra time with the family and friends. But enough of that. You can see in the middle of the screen today. What a special episode. We got the legend, the one and only, man. This guy, if you're an Oklahoma State guy, if you're a strength and conditioning guy in general, or you've been around the game of football at all in this general area of the world, you know this guy. Again, an absolute legend, Gary Calcagno, the Bulldog, Coach G. What's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Thanks, guys, for having me on. This is when you brought this up at Gonzalez's wedding. I was excited about it, so I'm honored to be on, and I appreciate you. So
Yeah,
Well,
man,
thank
that's
you
right.
so much on a Sunday afternoon. I know you're in the office right now, getting ready to do some things, but we really appreciate you taking the time, especially on a Sunday when you could be doing something else. So, again, thank you so much, Coach, for joining us.
Yep.
you're welcome.
Absolutely, man.
You're
I know what
welcome.
that's like. We know what that's like. Dude, you're a ball coach through and through. Whether you're in actually on the field ball, you're in the weight room, whatever it is, you guys are all involved, right? You're all involved. It takes all pieces at all times. So that's kind of where I want to start. You said it's kind of an off day around the program right now for you guys in Stillwater. Still got maybe some meetings or whatever that looks like. But I want to start with you being in the weight room all summer long with the guys.
Yep.
Now you're on the field, start a fall camp. Talk to us about what that's like for you as a strength coach. For the people that don't know, you spend as much time, if not more time, than anybody in the program around the guys from off season in the winter. Hell, when they're lifting in spring ball, then they come to the summer and they're doing so much lifting and running. And now you're seeing them cut it loose on the football field in practice. No 2 days anymore, but we know what that's like. So talk to us, man. What's that transition like when you watch them go from the weight room to the field? Hell, and kicking off a new season once again.
I love that piece because you get to see the fruits of your labor with guys running around, and hopefully that their mobility is better and their speed obviously is better, acceleration's better, and just they've got more muscle mass. Just the the body armor is their musculature. So you want to see guys bigger and stronger, but you also, if they get banged around, if they've got more body armor, they're going to stay away from injury. And I like to see that. That's the people have asked me in the past, what's the best part of your job? Is seeing a young David Glidden come into the weight room from Mustang High and hit the iron as hard as you did, and then go out on Saturdays and kick people's ass. That is why I do this. I mean, it just to see the success that you guys have pay off, putting in the work on the front side. That's the most rewarding thing to me. So
That's cool. That's really cool. Well, I appreciate that. Appreciate you saying that. But I'll say this, man: the none of that ever happens without every single piece of the staff and support that happens on the back end. Like I had no idea. Just for example, I don't want to put that light on myself, but man, when I stepped into a weight room in Stillwater, and I was amongst Coach Glass and Coach G and all those other great strength coaches that we had, I didn't know that I didn't know. And the best part about it is you step into a culture that was phenomenal. And those guys, those strength coaches are the one that they kick you into gear, whether you're ready or not. But you guys have seen it all, guys of all different levels that had tons of experience in a weight room in high school, or like myself that had zero essentially just because I was going from sport to sport. So that part for me was huge. And strength coach getting in my ass for the first time in college seemed a little bit different than it did in high school, even though I did have a great string coach in high school, Jason Duran. Shout out to him. He was on the show with us before. So, what is that adjustment like for you when you have to find that that groove of like every kid's a little bit different. How do you handle that?
I actually kind of like it when they're like you and James Washington, where you play every sport. You really haven't been in the weight room. You're great athletes, so we know you're going to pick it up. But that way we don't have to basically have you learn the correct form. Or we have to have you learn the correct form. So not unlearn any shitty habits that you may have. So that actually is better for me. But it doesn't matter now. The portal piece is so weird with you get guys in from wherever, and in that winter program now, you got to go. I mean, so it could be a kid from Ole Miss or a kid from Michigan State. It doesn't matter. I mean, or a kid from a smaller school. Jalen Warren, when he came in here, he was at Utah State. Well, he was in the lift group with the other running backs. Well, those guys had been with us. And so he had never really done power jerk. And so his technique was not very good. And I didn't want Coach Glass coming down and ripping my face off if I, had Jalen with some shitty technique and, doing this number. And so I said, okay, go ahead and take that weight off because Jalen can't do that. And he turned to me and he was like, man, what do you mean, Coach G? I go, well, your form's shitty. I don't want you getting hurt. I don't need you getting hurt because the first person will be down here is the guy in the long sleeve white tee. I don't need that. And he goes, just let me try. And I was like, okay. So I said, put it back on there. So the guys were like laughing. They were putting it back on. So he hits the set and I'm over here and he puts it in a rack and he turns to me and goes, and I was like, okay, all right, but I was fired up and I said, why do I got to believe in you more than you believe in yourself? Why didn't you do it on all those sets before that? Why'd I have to put my size 8 up your ass for you to go, okay, now I got to get the technique right.
Size 8.
Size 8. I like it.
That's
Coach,
what coaches are for, man.
That's
you got the
absolutely
best
right.
out of them.
You just mentioned the portal. You just mentioned a lot of transition in college football and everything like that. Obviously this offseason, you got a lot of the same guys, obviously from North Texas and everything like that. Talk about that transition, and then now with Coach Morris and everything like that. How has that been? Is this probably your first time experiencing, just a same group of guys from one program coming to another? Was that easier? Or was that, a little more difficult? Talk about that and how excited you are to work with these new guys and get into the season now.
That's a great question. And I tell you what, I loved it because they already had the backbone of the program and they were the backbone. They already felt like they were, hey, we're good. We're going to win. We just won 12 games. It was nice to have that piece come in to where they lifted everything up quicker. I guess it probably would have been the same when Coach Signetti went from JMU to Indiana, same type deal. So I loved it. I had a donor say one time, he's like, are we just going to back up the bus to Denton's, bring all the guys? I'm like, I hope so. They won 12 games last year. They've been to 2 bowls in a row. I hope we do. I don't give a damn. Like, come on. These guys think they can win, and they're good, and they've won a bunch of games. So let's go. I mean, that's a stupid. I go, we lost 11 games.
Yeah.
So what are we talking about here?
Well, you're taking guys with a mindset, and that's where it starts first is with that mindset, right?
Exactly right.
It's not hard.
You got to believe you can win before you actually go win. There's no doubt about that.
And you can tell, like, the staff's all the same, and Coach Morris does a super intentional job of getting to know the guys on a personal level, not just a player coach level. The breakfast stuff that we do, go up and you eat breakfast with different groups. You don't sit with your same position group. And then you have to ask questions, and they provide the questions, and it's not football related. It's, family and hopes and thoughts and dreams. And he does so many things like that. You can see why they went at North Texas. I'm watching it right now.
It's beautiful. That's awesome. That's what it's all about. You hear
Yes.
so much about the team camaraderie in sports in general, but then when you get to witness it firsthand, man, that's really cool and it's special. And for in your shoes right now, man, like to now have that that excitement, that build up. If you've seen it all like transpire over the last however many months, and now they get to go cut it loose and
Yeah.
all those little stepping stones, the building blocks to get to this piece now. From what I mean, you're less than a month away from the first game, right? And so to see them now go through a different little struggle together in fall camp, because that's a struggle in itself. And so now to bring it all together, man, that's got
Well,
to be
and
so
then,
cool.
81 or 82, whatever it is, new players. And then, but the cool thing has been for me has been the deal with the leadership of the team, the Drew Mestamakers, the Ethan Weslowskis. It's just they kind of feel like they know who they are, and they just did it last year, so they've taken that same mindset here. But also conversely, man, Coach Morris and the staff, and even like Drew and some of the players, like they've been so awesome to me. It's always been so respectful about what went on here in the past and what Coach Gundy did and what Coach Glass did and the great players we've had. And I had a guy asking me the other day about, how did all these unbelievable wideouts get in there? Who recruited all those guys? Well, Casey Dunn and just, like Coach Swoboda, who's going to be a head coach, was like, hey, Coach G, how many All-Americans and, first round draft picks have sat on that couch? And it's really cool. And that's how they're real guys. They don't have to act like, and my God, he was mentioned for every job pretty much. So that whole staff, they knew they were going to be somewhere else. And no offense to North Texas, I'm not trying to downgrade that deal at all.
No
they
doubt.
got a good football coach in Neil Brown, but just they've been awesome about, just like yesterday, Coach Morris said, we're going to fucking restore Oklahoma State. We're going to fucking restore it. I mean, it's just like, fuck you. Yeah. I mean, I love it. I mean, he is so swaggy cool. It just,
well, the one thing that I liked about Coach Morris is he's been in the Big 12 and he understands where Oklahoma State was, watching it through Texas Tech, watching it. And that's one thing that I really liked when he said it. He paid homage to Coach Gundy. He paid homage to the past and everything. He said, hey, we want to bring it back to when it was, rocking and rolling here. And Dave, and Coach, and as much as I, am an OU guy and everything like that, I still loved watching those teams because it was better for the whole league when Oklahoma State was really good, especially for the state of Oklahoma when we played those Bedlam games. It was really good. And so as much as I don't like to root for them, I will root for it because it's good for our state. It's good for the people around here, and it's good for the fans of Oklahoma State.
Yeah, that's exactly. And he said, I can't remember if he said it, if I read it or if he said it to the team. He's never won a game out here.
Yeah.
I think I read that same thing before.
So I mean, it
sounds familiar. Yeah.
In 05, they came in here, they were ranked, we weren't, and Michael Hamilton got off on them and rushed for, I don't know, almost probably 200 yards. And I mean, we had no business beating them that year.
We got David bouncing around over there like he's about to line up over there.
I know, man.
He's getting out. He's over there.
Both.
Yeah,
both got me
he's
like,
over here
I'm
just,
rocking and rolling.
Come on,
I know.
like,
between having G on here, man, I mean, this is taking me back to so much. Like, there's no other coach in the building to get you ready to play a game than Coach G can. When he comes up and slaps you on the helmet and gives you a couple, it only takes one or two words from that bulldog right there. I'll tell you that much. And so, and then to hear Drew passing out respects, even though we're always trying to keep Bedlam alive. I mean, now I'm like, golly, you got me like sweating here. I'm ready to roll.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think we're gonna be pretty good. Now, what does that mean? If you win 6, you're in a position to win 7 or 8. If you win 8, you're in a position to win 9 or 10. Yep. I think I'm tempered. My goodness, I just want to be back in a bowl game. You take it for granted 18 years in a row. I mean, it just. And if you'd have told me in 2000 or in 2024, if we weren't going to be in a bowl game, I'd have said you're crazy with all those
Right.
guys coming back. I mean, starting off 3-0, beating Arkansas,
Yep.
but just
Well, on that note, let's touch on a little bit of that / you. This is going into year what for you at Oklahoma State?
This 26 years, 27th season, because I got hired middle of August. I was in training camp for the Dallas Cowboys in Wichita Falls, and Coach Miles came in the weight room, and he's like, "Aren't you from Oklahoma?" And I said, "Yes, sir." And he's like, "Do you want an assistant's job at Oklahoma State?" And I was like, I don't know. Isn't that guy supposed to get fired? He goes, "Yes, and I'm going to get it." And I was like, wow, that's pretty ballsy.
Oh, man.
And he's like, "You get there and I'll take care of you." And sure enough, he was going to hire Benny Wiley first.
Oh, thank you. Never mind.
And then he couldn't because Terry Don wouldn't let him, make a change. And so then I eventually got it. And then Benny goes to Tech and was my boss, Brian Kagan's, and Eric Morris. He was their strength coach. So in a weird way, that helped me in 2026.
Man.
So my wife sat off the couch a week after Coach Kagan's had called and said, she's like, "Let me get this straight. You are getting retained based on a relationship you made 26 years ago and not the 26 years you spent at Oklahoma State." And I go, "Well, that's not entirely true. If I hadn't done a good job, then I wouldn't even be in a position to be here." I said, "But you're right."
Man, that's what the game of football can do for you.
I was going to say, that's coaching right there.
Yep. Ooh, that's coaching at its finest.
To wrap it all Oklahoma State orange bow. So Noah Franklin called me in October, and he was like, "What's going on?" I'm like, I don't have any idea what's going on. I'm just trying to keep my head down. I don't want to get hit with a stray. And I said, "Well, your guy's going to get one of these openings, And he was like, "Well, I think so." And I said, "Well, keep me in mind or whatever." So Noah Franklin held out a full-time assistant's job for me at Arkansas until I knew I was good to go here.
Wow.
I'm from Welch. Noah's from Veneta. I coached Noah. Then Coach Glass came in. We still had Noah on the team. Then he was an intern. I mean, and he told me, man, this like almost made me tear up. He's like, "Hey, if you come over here, I don't even care if you coach the guys. I just need you coaching me and helping me." And I was just like, golly.
Man, it shows the impact.
Is that really that old?
That shows your impact. No, age don't matter. The age don't matter.
I totally agree. I told Coach Morris that too. I'm like, I'm 56 and still fucking rocked.
The age don't matter, man. The age don't matter. That's huge. That shows you that the orange blood, it runs deep, right? I mean, and then your Oklahoma ties, and it honestly, it goes to show you that your network, the people that you're around on a daily basis, whether you're coaching Coach Franklin back in 2000, what was that, 2006, 7, 8,
4,
whatever?
5, 6, 7, 8, I think.
Man. And then now here we are, fast forward 20 years later, and because of your relationship, not only that, but also obviously you had to do a damn good job. You had to earn the trust through those times, and he knows what you've done in your track record over the last however many years. And here you are, so the network and the job you do all combined together, and boom, there it is, man. That's a hell of a story.
That is a hell of a story.
That's really
Coach,
cool.
I want to dig a little bit further back in your background. You got to coach a number 2 overall pick back in the day, Ryan Leaf at Washington State. Talk about a little bit of that. What do you remember about Ryan Leaf, everything like that? I did a little research and everything like that. What was it like being at Washington State for that little stint and kind of away from Oklahoma, away from this part of the country, and being able to coach guys like that and being able to see him? I know his pro career probably didn't turn out the way it is, but he was a hell of a quarterback in college. And talk about Ryan Leaf a little bit.
Unbelievable. Well, how I got there, I was at Tulsa student assistant, GA, so undergrad and master's. Went to NEO because I'm an NEO kid. My parents taught there for 35 plus years. So then I go to TU, and I was very, very close with the athletic director. He's still one of my mentors, Rick Dixon. He gets the athletic director's job at Washington State. And he said, he's like, I'm going to take care of you. And so that was my first full-time job. So when I got there in 94, they had just signed Ryan. Chad Davis had actually transferred from OU to Wazoo. So he was our starting quarterback that year. But Ryan was on the team. And I could not believe how big. And my God, when I was at TU, we had TJ Rubley and Gus Farrat. And Farrat was huge. But Ryan was just massive. And I would you would probably say he was pretty arrogant, but it wasn't unlike any. So is every player, no matter if you're a wrestler or a football player, but if you don't have confidence in yourself, get the fuck out of here. I could care less. I would rather have that than be like, oh, I don't know if I can do it. We don't have time for that. So, but he was, that rocket arm he had was just unbelievable. And he had so much fire that he started making those guys. We went to the bowl game in 94, won the Alamo Bowl, and then 95, 96 wasn't great. But then in 97, we had all those wideouts. We had that really good O-line with McIndoe and those guys. And to win the Apple Cup and celebrate in their stadium to get to go to the Rose Bowl was one of the most unbelievable experiences I've ever. My mom, I told this story the other day, so indulge me. But so in 1985, I was a junior, and we were clearly the best team in the state. I don't care what Pond Creek says. We go to the state semifinals. Dr. Ivan's little brother, Van Shea Ivan, was the quarterback at Pond Creek, which I love. Okay. Wore the Thomas Lott, and I love Thomas Lott bandana. And we go into overtime, and they kick the shittiest field goal in the history of organized sports, and it hits the crossbar, and it goes up, and I can still see it. It was to my right. The ball goes up and then just goes boom. And good. They go to the state finals. They whip the shit out of Cave Springs. My senior year, we're number one preseason. Stacy Satterwhite is on my team. He was 6'5", 275 in high school, not an ounce of fat on him, recruited by everybody in the country. My other lineman played at Pitt State. We were really good, and we go all the way to the finals, and it was my mom's birthday. We played at Pahuska, and we played Morrison. And this left-handed quarterback named Kerr was just lights out, and we got beat. So I'm bawling in the locker room after the game. I'm upset. That night, I can remember being in my room and laying on my bed, but not in bed. And my mom comes in, and she's like, "Get up, sit up." And my mom coached too. And so I sit up, and I'm like this, and she sits down beside me, and she's like, "Now listen, you knock this off." And I'm like, "Oh," and then she's like, "There's going to be bigger and better things happen to you in your life than winning the state championship at Welch High School." And I was like what? Well, I don't know, but it's going to happen. And she's like, "So you need to knock it off." She's like, "You are a state runner-up. How many people can say they actually played for a state championship?" And she's like, "So, wrap it up. Feeling sorry for yourself." So I'm at Tulsa. We win the Freedom Bowl. We go 10-2 that year. We beat A&M's ass 35-34. Bucky Richardson.
Anything A&M.
Yeah, exactly. And so we're in the after party in the team hotel, and my mom and dad are there before my dad passed away. And my mom goes, "Well, is this better than winning the state championship at Welch?" And I was like, okay.
Oh, that's awesome.
We beat.
That's great.
Washington to go to the Rose Bowl. I'm calling them, because they're back in Oklahoma. And she's like, well, is this better than winning the state championship? I'm like, okay, Mom. And then,
We get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Yeah.
Right?
That's so funny. That's awesome.
That's
Now,
awesome.
like, as you're telling this story, for me, I'm sitting here, I'm like, there's so many things in my head that now make so much sense because you're giving a little bit of an insight of how you were raised, how your parents were. They're both coaches. And now I'm having flashbacks in the weight room. And I'm like, man, how you were raised. Now I got to experience some of that like trickle effect to when you used to get on me in the weight room or we were conditioning or whatever it was of not feeling sorry for yourself. Get over it and get it done, whatever that looks like. So that's pretty cool. Like that to me, there's so much that just made sense in my head.
Well, and
it
Coach
shows how
Gundy
you
asked us
are.
to talk to the team a few years ago, and I kind of referenced this when we were, talking before we came on,
Yep.
and that was part of what I told the guys. I'm like, listen, I cannot relate to what you guys went through. My parents were professors. My dad had his PhD. My mom took all of her doctoral classes and just didn't do her dissertation. They were college professors. My mom also coached. I mean, me and my brother were held to a standard, and you had to make good grades. And it wasn't if you were going to go to college. It was, all those things. Like my role and my route is different than your route, but the expectations were also sometimes crushing, and so it's just a different deal. I thankfully had two parents, and I'm so sorry that some of our young men, have to fight through single parent upbringings. But that's why I wanted them to know we all have crosses to bear. Not everyone's the same, but I can also help you because I have a different outlook and a mindset to where I think I'll be able to pull you across the finish line if you just give me a shot and a chance to listen to me, because I see it differently.
The beautiful part
Well, we
about
can all
football.
learn from each other, and I think that's the
Absolutely.
biggest thing.
That's exactly right.
Yeah, because your story and all three of our stories are different, and that's the beautiful thing about people and networking and being a part of something bigger than yourself is, understanding and learning from each other.
Yep, absolutely, man. It's a beautiful thing about the game, man. It brings people all different shapes, sizes, backgrounds. It does not matter, man. We all come together for one purpose, and in the end, we're all better because of it.
You were talking about Ryan Leaf. A few years ago, he did one of our opening games, and he was up in the offices afterwards. And me and Jason McIndoe and Leaf all got a picture in McIndoe's office, and it's just like, wow.
That's full circle,
Man,
right there.
that's cool.
Yeah.
That's really, really cool.
Crazy.
Well, even just you mentioned the Rose Bowl that year. I mean, I know you guys went on and lost to Michigan, but watching that game from the sideline with Charles Woodson, I mean, you had backup quarterback. Tom Brady was a backup quarterback. Like, you got Brian Greasy. Man, I couldn't even imagine, that
I'm
type of
outside
thing.
the locker room, and
Yeah.
I walk out, and Bob Greasy's, because he did the game.
Yep.
And so he's
And
standing
Keith
right
Jackson,
there.
Yep.
Yep. Keith Jackson's Washington State grad. And so he came to practice and, the whole bit because he was, he's a Cougar. So Bob Greasy's standing right there, and I went out and introduced myself, and I will never forget this. And he was like, hey, it's like, do you think you could go in and find me a Sharpie? I've had people asking me for autographs, and I don't have anything to sign it with. I was like, yes, sir. So I go in the Wazoo locker and grab our equipment guy and bring Bob Greasy out a Sharpie so he can sign autographs.
Wow.
Hey,
After
man,
getting our ass whipped by his son.
not a lot of other people can say that, and the fact that you can laugh at it now, that's awesome. Who cares? That's
Hey,
hilarious.
do you think you can go get me a Sharpie? Yeah, yes, sir.
Yeah,
I'm on it.
yes, sir. Yeah, I know, right? What else are you going to say in that moment?
Yeah, exactly.
Like, no, screw you.
Yeah, exactly.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's funny. Yeah, no doubt. All right, so G, I heard you mention this earlier, man. You mentioned wrestling. There was, I don't know what was said about it, but it got said real quick. Anybody involved with Oklahoma State or that knows you in general knows wrestling in Oklahoma State. Really, in the last however many years you want to call it, they go hand in hand with Coach G. And yes, Coach Smith, rightfully so, going to get the credit he has. But I've heard people really close to Coach Smith. I've only got to know him or shake his hand a couple times. But I know he thinks the world of you. And same with Coach Gundy, right? But I want to talk about your wrestling stint as the head wrestling coach at Oklahoma State, and obviously the success that went on with that program. We talked about football that happened, but just talk about the differences. Talk about how maybe even your schedule a little bit, the challenges, the difference in working with the different type of athletes. What was that like? What was maybe your favorite, least favorite part? I know you got some good stuff from there. We probably don't got enough time for all that on here today, but for me, it was really cool when I would go to wrestling matches and see you right there with the whole team, head coach, all the assistants, man, and you're involved right up front, and just knowing that you had a huge part of the success that happened there. For me, when I was young, just that was eye-opening to know that you went and did that and came back and grilled us in the weight room too. Kind of gave me a little bit of a sense of like, man, there's a lot more that goes on than just us in the weight room being football, just us, right? So if you could touch on that a little bit, man, let's hear it.
Well, Terry, he had pulled his team out. Baseball pulled their team out. When the new weight room was built, Terry Don had a staff meeting with us and said, everybody's going to have a certified strength coach. Gary, you've got wrestling. And I was like, I'm short and stocky. I should have wrestled. Welch didn't have wrestling. I had to go to Frontier Engineering because that's where the offices were because they were renovating Gallagher, and meet with Coach Smith. He made me wait for 30 minutes sitting out there by myself before he called me in. And so we met, and I said, Coach, I don't know anything about wrestling, but I know about the human body. I'm certified, and I'm like, I'll do whatever. I said, but I will learn what I need to do. And just, I just want you to know that I'm here to help you in any way. And he basically kind of kept me, a little bit, had the thumb on me a little bit. Mark Cody was our assistant head coach, later went on to be the head wrestling coach at OU. He and I hit it off. He really helped me in those first few years. The first guy that I got to make a program for was an upperweight guy named Mark Munoz that I gave the program to him in January. He went on to win the national title in March. So he was my first national titleist. And went on to a UFC career, the best dude ever. And so then at that point, Mark Munoz was one of the ones that basically told Coach Smith, hey, he's awesome, cut him loose, whatever. And so then I didn't get to go to nationals that year. The next year, it wasn't spring break. And Coach Miles was like, why do you need to go? And I'm like, moral support. He's like, you could do that from here. I need you at practice. And so I didn't get to go to Albany, but then I got to go in Kansas City, and that's when we won the first of 4 in a row.
Okay.
And it was, I went back and forth for years. And when the football strength coaches had nothing, I had wrestling. And then Coach Glass gave me and talk about how lucky am I got to work for Rob Glass, Mike Gundy, and John Smith. I mean, that's
pretty impressive. Yeah.
And so it was awesome, and we had a lot of success, but the best thing about it was those guys and even Coach, like, my God, Coach Smith, like, just getting to be around him and his mindset and talking to the team and talking to me and being in the weight room. And it's just, he is a state treasure. But when you go to a national event, the amount of people that come up to that guy, and then I've been in Italy with him, but I guess when you go to a really wrestling, like the World Wrestling Championships or the Olympics, like, people just around John Smith. And it's just, it was awesome. It was in 23 years I did it, and we had quite a bit of success. You went to another full circle moment. So our house burns down.
Just quite a bit of success.
He's being modest.
Another Carol Calcagno story of my mom. We were getting ready to win our 4th title in a row, and she called.
Yeah, and that's a little bit of success right there.
Yeah.
4th title in a row. Yeah.
are you ready to go? And I'm like, yeah, I'm not ready to pack. And she was like, hey, listen, you better get excited. You better get ready to pack. She's like, you got a chance to win 4 national championships in a row. Are you kidding me? How many people even sniff one? And you got a chance to win 4. So you better get in there and just be whistling a tune and packing your stuff and be ready to go, because you never know. You may not ever win another one. And we haven't won one.
Boom. Wow. What year was that?
That was 2006. It was the weekend before we left on Sunday to go to St. Louis to win the 4th in a row.
Man.
Yeah.
Man, Carol.
She's a dog.
Man. And that's why you're the bulldog, man. Golly.
So
man, that's awesome.
Our house burns down, and Coleman and Jessica Scott, Coleman didn't get the job, but he built a wrestling center. And then there was a house on the land that they had started renovating. And so he called and said, hey, meet us at Joe's. We want to buy you guys lunch. So this is like Monday after the wildfires on Friday. And he was like, they were like, we have a house. We want you and Kimmy to move into it. And it was just like, wow. I mean, I trained Coleman every day, and then trained him for the Olympics, and, helped his strength coach at North Carolina when he was the head coach there. And just like, wow, it was surreal.
Yeah. That's when you realize the connections you make are way more than just sports, right?
Well, and you just mentioned it, Coach, you just touched on it, the wildfires. A lot of people saw it on the news. A lot of people didn't experience it firsthand, but like you just said, you did. And so many years you've told your athletes and the players that you coach, hey, when you go through adversity, you know what? Talk about your adversity there and how that was a bridge for you to be able to impact guys in maybe a different way than just in the weight room.
It was crazy. The next week was spring break, so it kind of allowed us to get our bearings. And I really leaned on Rob Glass because his house burned down as well. The only one in that division. Mine, Pecan Hill, it got hammered pretty good. John Smith's brother, Leroy, lived across the street and down 3 homes. Theirs burned down. And I remember I'll never forget him saying, hey, if you need to stay at home today, I'm like, what are you talking about? You're there. So I'm going to be at work. And it's like, whoa, okay. And just, you just tried to do the best you could every day. And then one of our linebackers came up, and it was at the end of the summer program. So we had started spring ball, and they had that May stint off. And then it was at the end of the summer, and he came up to me, and he said something about, the day or whatever. I said, yeah, man, great job today. You crushed it, blah, blah, blah. And he was like, well, Coach, I just want to tell you that you've been a real inspiration watching you and having to deal with what you dealt with, losing everything. And you never, ever brought it into the weight room. And just the kind of energy you showed up with every day. And I mean, I dapped him up real quick, and then I took off because, it messed me up, because it messed my wife up, still messed up. I think I told you when I called her, when they said evacuate, I said, well, what do I do? What do I grab? And she's like, go grab the documents box. Well, it was sitting on top of my rings and watches. And so then I grabbed both, but then I didn't call her back because she was out. And I should have said, do you want me to grab pictures of the kids, or what do I grab? And the messed up part was 1 month before, I was watching a great HBO documentary called A Minority of One about Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. And in the early 80s, he had a house fire and lost everything. And so my Malcolm Rodriguez rookie jersey signed, James Washington's jersey, Mason's jersey, Daniel Cormier's fight glove signed, Johnny Hendricks fight glove, all my trophies, all my awards, all the Chuba Hubbard, all the guys that had signed stuff, all the national champion photos and my Rose Bowl stuff. And so like when somebody said, well, is everything good? You got, well, just glad everybody's okay. Cause the rest of that stuff, that's just stuff. So finally, after about, I don't know, probably 3 months, I can't remember who it was. I feel bad now, but it's like, I said, hey, listen, it's not just stuff. It's my fucking career, man. It's my career. What do you like? No, I don't give a shit about the clothes and the shoes. But that other stuff, I can never go back to the panorama of the kickoff at the Rose Bowl and being able to see me on the 30-yard line. That's my life. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? It's just stuff. It's not just stuff. Same thing with Coach Glass. All those national championship things that he had at Florida and all the success here. And when he was a student assistant with baseball, it's not just stuff. So and people don't know what to say, and I get it, but I wouldn't wish that on my worst enemy. But here's what it helped me do. And I told my wife this the other day. Whether it was a situation where we had so much success that I felt like because I work hard, I deserved it or something. I don't know. I haven't been able to really conceptualize it in my mind yet. But this year and moving forward, I'm going to celebrate every success, every win, because everything is so fleeting. You just better be thank the good Lord and thank Jesus that you're in the position and even here to be able to do it. And then you better celebrate with the people you love, because that fast. So it's better take your time to give your thanks and to celebrate the little victories and whatever that may look like for each person. Because if you don't, at the end of the day, what are we doing this for?
Man, what a message. What a message. I can't wait to see that little snippet right there, Drew. Man, that's powerful, Coach. That's because, yeah, like Drew said, a lot of people know what happened, but they don't know exactly the extent of it. And I think, and I'm included in that, obviously, because of what you went through. And to be like you said, whoever the linebacker was that told you that, it really was, man, it was the truth for a lot of us to get to be around you and see how you got to come every day. When I was around you, it was like nothing had ever happened. And the fact that you could do that is still to this day, it's mind boggling to me. It's so impressive. And so to hear that, obviously it had impact on your players, like you mentioned earlier in the show, man, that's what it's all about. And you got a chance to live what you preach as a coach, in the sense of like, adversity is going to come. Well, unfortunately, like, that's not something you said it. We don't wish that adversity on any of our worst enemies. But man, life happens, and it's to take those pieces away. Like, you're right. To this day, I'll never know what to say, but to stand by you every day after that had happened and witness how you carried yourself like a grown ass man. It's still trying to keep it together with you and your family and everything. It's truly impressive. Just another reason for myself, selfishly, why I love you so much, and the impact that you had, man, on myself, numerous other Cowboys along the way, obviously football, wrestling, and it goes so much farther beyond that. So hats off to you, man. We love you, Coach G, and we appreciate you. That was impactful,
That's
man.
good stuff.
That was
And
impactful.
you even mentioned something in the analogy about the rock earlier before we got on. Talk about that right there. That I thought that was such a great nugget that you mentioned to us about, day by day, doing the right things and coming to work every day.
Coach Gundy asked us to talk to the team and each person in the program, and he wanted it short and wanted to quickly tell our story and then something to, a nugget to give the team. And I just, with my mom and dad and my upbringing, my high school coach was one of my first mentors. That's why I love the weight room. Mike McClure, 8-man coaches Hall of Famer. They incidentally won the state championship with Stacey Satterwhite the next year. So you can still, I'm still scarred from that. But so I chose the Stonecutter's Credo, and I'll read it. Look at a stonecutter hammering away his rock, perhaps 100 times without as much as a crack showing in it. Yet at the 101st blow, it will split in two. And I know it was not the last blow that did it, but all that had gone before. And that, to me, that's our job in the weight room. You know, and I got this term from John Smith. He always would tell the guys, stack success. And that to me is stacking success. And that's something that I always try every day to show up and bring energy every day, because as one of my early mentors told me, I was supposed to train the tennis team at the University of Tulsa. They were going to start at 6:30. I rolled in, I kind of woke up late, and I got there about 6:15. And after the lift was over, he called me over and he said, how in the world do you expect a student athlete to be excited about lifting at 6:30 if you can't even get here on time? And I was like, damn. So I vowed I would never, ever do that. And we're asking them to do something they really don't want to do, especially not football players and wrestlers at that time I had. So I better be juiced up, ready to go to try to get them to love it just at least a little bit like I do. So
it's big time. 15 minutes early for all the youngsters out there listening. Still not early enough. Love that, man. I love that. That's awesome. That's awesome.
And he didn't say it quite that calm.
I was gonna say,
I believe
was David ever late for a lift? Was he?
Hey, we're not commenting on that. We're not commenting on that. Okay, we're not going there.
That dude right there is an absolute stallion, and he came into a room with dudes that all train like he did, so he really didn't have the luxury of not doing it. So he got pulled along fast, and obviously his career speaks for itself.
Well, you talk about drinking from a fire hose.
He doesn't like to talk about himself, and rightfully so. But any chance I get to ever throw some of his stuff out there, because a lot of people don't know exactly what he accomplished too. I always like to do that, because he's never one to he's got a jersey over there in the corner that he doesn't like to show, but I mean, his accomplishments speak for itself, man. And I always have a joy to have him on our show and have him as a co-host. We always have fun with it. But man, anytime I get to hear stories about him, it's always a good thing. So,
you
won't tell him.
Coach Morris.
Yeah.
You guys are very similar, and just being around him the short period of time I have, like the other day, because he was talking about Wes Welker and Amendola, and then in my mind I was thinking about you, and I'm like, damn, they're very similar. Just junkyard dogs, ball, play every sport, just good at everything, but head down, go to work. And I had to pick the Daily Oklahoma, and when we beat Iowa State, you're going, and you're just fucking jacked. Your arms are just jacked. I was like, fuck yeah, that's my fucking guy right there. Just team leader. Everybody loved him because of the way he approached every day. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people know your co-host here was a star.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, I'm just trying to hold on to the coattails and keep this train running. That's what I'm doing.
Appreciate y'all. Both of you guys, Drew. I appreciate you, man. I love like our friendly battles and our little bit of Bedlam Alive stuff is great, and I appreciate you saying that stuff. And G, same to you, man. I know I definitely don't deserve near the credit what y'all are giving me, but I do appreciate it. So I'm telling you, G said it a minute ago. I got dragged in. I stepped into a room with guys that I had no business being in the same room as when I walked into that receiver room and that weight room at Oklahoma State. But it was those guys that I was around daily. It was the coaches like G, all those other guys that are even like, I have nothing to do with this. All of them, 1,000%, because none of that stuff ever happened. So appreciate you, gentlemen. G, this has been phenomenal. And I don't know, Drew, we might have to get him back in just an episode where he only talks like Coach Les Miles the entire time.
I'm telling you, we got to just snap some. That's the best impersonation. Hey, can you do it? And then humor me, because this is an OU thing. Can you just say "let her rip" in the Les Miles?
Yeah, well, I'll tell you a quick story.
Let it rip, all right.
In the Friday night before 01, we're in the team hotel downtown. No, I think that might have been we might have been on the one Northwest Expressway. Anyway, Friday night, he tells the team, I'm standing in the back. He says, now tomorrow, when we win, I don't want a lot of people running around and jumping up and down like we didn't expect to win. Am I clear? And I'm standing in the back, and I was like, we're 28.5-point dogs. What are you talking about? He said that Friday night in the team hotel before.
That's big time. That's big time. That's the belief we talked about earlier, right?
Michigan guy. So in his mind, the Oklahoma State deal, when we got bowl eligible in 2002 at Baylor, we come in, I meet him at the door, and he was like, young Calcagno, I need a Michigan-Ohio State score. And so then I had to go ask Robert Allen in that little shitty Floyd Casey locker room what the Michigan-Ohio State score was before he addressed the team. And we had just gotten bowl eligible.
Oh, man.
Like, wow.
In case, and I don't want to throw any salt on the wound, but in case anybody remembers or doesn't remember that score from 2003, it was 52-9.
I thought it was 53-9.
No, we didn't. I think we just didn't kick the extra point. Maybe we just let it, whatever. I don't know. So, that was always a good an
absolute beatdown.
Oh man!
And I remember Mike Stoops. There was something I saw online this week. I remember him looking across the field, yelling at Coach Miles. And then when I'll give him credit, when he took his headset off at the end of the game, all the fans behind the bench were yelling and chanting, which one's which? Which one's which? Wow. Which one's which? And he stood there and wore it. And I was like, you know what? Good for you, Coach Miles, because you said it. We got it shoved up our ass, and he's owning it like a man. So
got to at that time. You got to at that time.
If anybody out there is needing a great Les Miles impersonator, we found him. We've got him right here on the show.
Matt Davis, Chief, is actually better than me at it. So
really? You did pretty good.
Yeah. You need to have him on. He's unbelievable.
Man, okay. Chief would, and not even just Coach Miles stories. Chief's gonna have stories for days on everybody, anything involved with Oklahoma State. Oh man, that's so true. Chief would be phenomenal.
He does the best Les Miles.
That's big time. Well,
Coach, that was a pretty good one.
We appreciate you, man. Yeah. I don't say you're selling yourself a little short there.
Yeah, that was.
And no pun intended.
If you had some grass, you would have took it over the top and just started chewing on some turf. You'd have took it over the top. So
flick his hair.
Oh, that's phenomenal! What a ball coach he was, man. I know we're laughing about.
I remember being so excited when Joyce Robbins would open the door. We'd be in staff meeting, and she'd be like, "Les, Bo's on the phone for you." I was like, "That's so freaking cool." Bo Schembechler's calling Coach Miles.
Man,
that would be pretty. Yeah,
man, that's awesome. That's
I
awesome.
appreciate you guys for having me on.
Yeah, we're getting to an hour here. I know you got stuff to get to today. Coach G, the legend, a Welch, Oklahoma legend, an Oklahoma State University legend, strength and conditioning coach across the country. Everybody knows his name. Coach G, we appreciate you so much. What an episode. Man, this has been phenomenal. Drew, if you want to send us out, or G, if you have any final words you want to get to us, doesn't have to be in Coach Miles' voice.
Yeah.
No.
Hey, He's got me fired up for some Oklahoma State football, man. I'm telling you what,
Let's go.
And so I'll try to get up there to a couple games maybe and check you guys out. But I'm really excited. And as an offensive coordinator and offensive mind that I was and all that, I love what Coach Morris is doing. I was up there at spring practice a little bit last year, and I wish you guys all the best and a successful and healthy season. And I know that you're seeing
he recruited Mateer. A lot of people don't know that.
Yep.
So, I mean, he's the truth. So I'm excited too, but you guys are awesome. Appreciate you having me on. It was an honor.
Gee, you're the man. Best of luck this season. We love you, brother.
Thank you.
Appreciate you.
Absolutely. Guys, we will catch you again next week for another episode. We've got some stuff coming up. College football is right around the corner, all that good stuff. And we'll keep keeping the guests coming, and we'll keep Bedlam alive as long as we possibly can. For myself, for DG, and for Coach, we'll see you guys again soon.
See y'all.